Jason, good to see you. Welcome to Pop Alternative.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you
You
so
know,
much.
it's funny because I feel like, with a film like this, there was a lot going on and you had a lot of things that you wanted to do from a writing perspective and a directing perspective. Did it feel natural to do both of them, or did it kind of feel like this push and pull sometimes? You have to write this thing and then you actually have to go film it and direct it. What was that like for you on this one?
It felt very natural to me because I think it's more to do with the Korean industry. It's the norm for debuting directors to write their own screenplays. I think it's the only reason that debuting directors have a shot in directing is because they have this screenplay that they can leverage to squeeze themselves a gig. And so it was normal. And I guess what was difficult was not necessarily the writing part, but the directing part,
Yeah.
because the I guess the nature of that, being a debuting director is that you're the least experienced person on set, and it really shows. And but so I had immense pressure going into this project, just fearing that there might be some sort of unwanted hierarchy, they might not really, there might not be a level of respect for the director because he has no experience. But that was all just a waste of time, worrying about that, because that was not the case at all. Everybody was so respectful, everybody was so passionate about the story that they wanted to tell. So we were like this close-knit family, and it was an incredible fun time and a great learning experience.
Absolutely. Horror movies have been around for a long time, and this one obviously has the psychological component, really messes with your head, and that's what I really loved about it. But I'm just wondering for
Thank
you as
you.
a filmmaker, what is it like working in horror films right now at a time where there is this big kind of surge in popularity? There is this big appetite. Like, it's a really exciting time for that genre right now.
I think so too, especially in the States. In Korea, I don't think there's a particular surge in horror films, except for that there's the number of imported films are much greater. But in the States, at least, I can really feel that the appreciation for horror is really rising, and I think that's why I'm lucky enough to have it be released in here as well. Um, I really love that. I feel before this era, quote unquote era, I feel that there was always appreciation for horror films, but there was less appreciation about the craft or the filmmaking that goes into it, more about the fun that it can give. But now I think people respect the horror genre, the horror films as a legitimate a genre, a legitimate piece of art, and I think that's just great. I really love that the shift in the appreciation. It feels elevated, and I really appreciate that phenomenon that's going on right
I
now.
agree. I'm also a filmmaker as well in the horror movie world too. I have a
Ah,
short horror film that I wrote and produced that's doing the festival
oh,
run right
really?
now too.
Co-
Yeah, so
Wow, congratulations.
thank you. It's
Thank you
it.
for making the time to interview me at this
No, it's so crazy
festival
because it's
run.
like no, it's so crazy because it's like you look at films like yours and like I feel like once I started doing all that, I get inspired every time I watch a film. And I'm wondering if that was like that for you specifically, right? Where like there was this kind of bug where you wanted to be a filmmaker, and then every time you saw a film that you really liked, did it kind of get like the creative juices flowing? Because I feel like that's why I brought it up on a film. That was my question. Like I feel like that's what I get now every time I watch a film. I always think of ideas and stuff.
Absolutely. And as to your question earlier about horror films, there is also the aspect of I now after screening the film Sleep in various horror film festivals, genre film festivals, and watching horror films in these festivals, I realize horror film fans are the best film fans and film audience
Yes.
people in the world, right? Um, I think people constantly talk about the theater experience and how you must watch a film in the theaters, but the best case for that, I think, are horror films with horror film fans, because just watching it in a theater, in a packed theater with people who love this genre, is really something else, you know, and you get much more out of watching it with fellow fans than just watching it by yourself in a room or in a streaming service, which is also a good way to watch it, obviously, but still there's a big difference. And yes, I do get a lot of influence from watching great films, great genre films, especially, you know, watching great ones really make me want to just, you know, jump out of the theater afterwards and go to a cafe maybe and write my own screenplay again, or just it makes me itch to create. And I think that's also the great things about these films. It gives you the itch of creativity that you always long for.
I wanted to ask you about that script to screen journey for Sleep, because I find it really cool. You write this thing that you go and direct and it comes to life on screen. I took a class in it was like an English class, but I was taking film classes, and it was like a tragedy class. So we were watching like Thelma and Louise, or watching we were reading the play Othello and everything, and we talked about this turning point, right? There's the climax, but this point of no return, which in Sleep you have that. I don't want to give it much away, but there's certain things that characters do that it's like, oh, this is not going to end well. You know what I mean? What was that like, kind of seeing that writing kind of transform on screen when you started filming it specifically?
It was very surreal, you know. Never in my life did I imagine that I would complete a feature film screenplay, but just having it cast with the dream actors that I had in mind, that I only could, you know, wish for in my dreams, and then having them recite my lines and making it come to life. It really felt, it was almost touching in a way, you know, in an environment where we're not really allowed to have such feelings, especially in a tightly budgeted, tightly wound, you know, every second counts film. You really have to zone in and be on point. But there were moments where I was so, you know, touched by their performances and touched by how the words that I wrote were performed even better and were made even better by these actors, cinematographers, by the help of cinematographer and the production designer, that I just had to, you know, stop and breathe it all in. And there were also these moments that the acting was so good that you can't help it be so immersed in it that you forget to even yell cut at times, which caused some problems during set too.
Oh, absolutely. And I can't wait for people to check out Sleep. It's going to be available in theaters and on demand starting September 27th, which is really exciting. I'm so happy for you. It was an honor and privilege to speak with you, Jason. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Peter. And congratulations on your short film. I hope it does very well in the circus, and I hope to check it out
I
myself.
really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.